A 5-year-old girl was taken by ICE, held outside of her house, and used as a pawn by ICE officials to lure her father out of the home so that they could detain him. The 5-year-old girl had autism, and this entire interaction was caught on video, with family members screaming at the agents pleading for her quick return. ICE agents took her, held her essentially hostage, and waited as her father inside had to choose whether or not to exit his home to be with his 5-year-old daughter with autism, or remain in the home and watch as ICE agents hold her captive in an attempt to lure him out of the house. This is a story that is real, that happened in the United States of America this week, and a story that far too many media companies have been silent on. Tonight, I want to walk you through a story that is short on answers, and folks, it is long on questions. A story that begins with a grainy video and ends with the family shaken and a federal agency denying what the family says happened, what video shows happened. A 5-year-old girl with autism was captured on camera sitting outside of her home in a town in Massachusetts, surrounded by what appeared to be law enforcement agents. Her family says that immigration officers held her there to pressure her father to come out and surrender. The Department of Homeland Security calls this a disgusting smear. Now, I'm going to tell you everything we know but from the footage and the reporting, point out exactly what we don't know at this hour, and explain to you why this matters so much in this moment. The footage was obtained by Telemundo and later reported by NBC News. In the video, you can clearly see a small child sitting next to a vehicle that looks like a law enforcement SUV. She was holding a bottle. Several men in plain clothes or uniforms were standing nearby. And off camera, the child's mother can be heard shouting, "They took my daughter. She's 5 years old. She has autism spectrum. Give me my daughter back." That line, raw, human, and anguished, is the heart of what makes this story so upsetting for so many people. And according to the family's account to Telemundo, the day began when the mother's husband, Edward Hit Mejia, called to say that he thought he was being followed while driving with their daughter. He drove home, ran into the parking lot of their home, and the mother says agents grabbed their daughter there. The video then appears to show officers trying to coax Mejia to step outside of the home by saying, quote, "Is that your daughter? Come here so I can see those IDs," one man is heard saying. Mejia responds from behind the door, "I can give it through the door." And at one point, an agent points to the ground and says he can pass the IDs right here. That's the family's version, and it's what the footage shows. A small child, a 5-year-old girl with autism, in the doorway of a family home with adults surrounding her. The image is powerful, the image is disturbing, and it's a microcosm of what far too many families face under this administration's immigration enforcement scheme. But the Department of Homeland Security has a different story. DHS responded immediately and forcefully. Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin issued a statement that flatly denies the allegation that ICE agents used the child as bait. She called the claim a disgusting smear. DHS later went on to say that the father was a target of an operation, that he had previous arrests for domestic abuse, strangulation, and vandalism. According to their description, the father abandoned the child in a car, ignored emergency lights, drove back to his home, then fled his car, a version that DHS justifies the actions that took place at the scene by the plainclothes agents. NBC Boston reported that local police arrived, recovered the child, and returned her to her family. The mother told Telemundo the child, thankfully, is well. 2 days after this footage was taken, authorities reportedly returned back to the home and detained Mejia. He is now being held at the ICE Detention Center in Plymouth, Massachusetts. That sequence, a tense interaction, which was followed by a later arrest, is an important piece of this timeline because DHS points to it in defending the conduct of its agents. So, what we have right now are two competing narratives: the family's account and a video that completely corroborates their distress, and the agency's account, which reframes the same events as law enforcement's response to a suspect who, according to DHS, presented safety concerns. That contrast is critical to understand because modern outrage often forms around a single visual and a short statement. But here's the thing: we right now have the visual. We can see the video. And the video is clear on what these ICE agents did to that little girl. Because here's the thing: the child in question is not just 5 years old. She has autism spectrum disorder, according to her mother. That fact alone raises the stakes considerably. Children with autism can be especially vulnerable to stress, unfamiliar people, and chaotic situations. Second, the father is described by his wife as a longtime resident of the United States, originally from Guatemala. And third, DHS says that the father's criminal history is the reason that they arrested him. Here's the thing, folks. We can report on this and say, you know what, there are two sides to this story. There is the DHS's side, and then there is the family side. But only one side is corroborated by evidence: the family's. We have the videotape which corroborates the family's account, and let me tell you something. This isn't about the father. This is about the daughter. If the father truly had past convictions for violent crimes, whether he had a warrant or not, that's a matter between immigration and the father. Putting a 5-year-old girl with autism spectrum disorder in the middle of ICE and her father completely scarred her for life. Not only now will she have to deal with the fact that her father may be deported and she may not see him again, but she will now have to deal with the stress and the trauma caused as a result of the incident that didn't even result in the father's arrest. And that right there is what's so important right now in this moment. Because that, folks, needs to be told. Her story needs to be told. The world needs to know exactly what happened to that young 5-year-old girl and exactly how ICE agents treated her, even though she was not under arrest. She was not the target of this raid. None of that. That's the girl. That's her story. Make sure no one forgets it. Hey folks, Aaron Parnas here. Thank you so much for watching The Parnas Perspective. Please consider subscribing to support our work as we grow this independent news media entity into something that rivals mainstream every single day. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.